You got me?
Gotcha.
We got you, Jerry.
Okay, great, Coach. You probably have heard this already a couple of times tonight, but congratulations. You just won the Pac-12 Championship title game again. That was a hell of an effort, my man. That was something else.
Man, that was, we were just talking about it in the locker room back in March. We said, whoever handles this pandemic best is going to end up holding up that trophy. And I think it starts with that. These guys, and we are really like regimented, and we really get after them all day to the point where, we're rough to deal with sometimes, but they managed to find a way to stay healthy, make it to every single game, and sure enough, found ourselves here in the Pac-12 Championship and got it done. So tremendous credit goes to these football players.
Coach, I thought your defense set the tone of this ball game early.
Yes, they really did. They right away, with the turnover, the pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run game, very physical at the line of scrimmage, physical on the perimeter, really just came out with an attitude, came out with a purpose and a mission. And it was, they talked a lot about just going out there and giving them 60 minutes and they did. And they certainly made the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest impact in the game.
Kayvon Thibodeau obviously was credited with having a great ball game, but how do you put into words what that guy does for your defense?
Well, when Kayvon plays like that, he's hard to stop. Changes everything, right? Because all of a sudden, he's an every down guy. It's first and second down, and he's stopping the run, and he's setting edges, and he's winning on stunts and games and twists. And then on third down, they got to commit an extra back to him or chip a tight end to him as well, because as a one-on-one matchup, he's very difficult to block. And he's only getting better. So really proud of him. Really proud of the defense, the way those guys and you could tell it was coming. The last couple of weeks, the way that the guys were practicing, the way they were pushing each other and holding each other accountable, the way Isaac Slade stood up and just made it a promise that we were going to play and practice and perform a different way, made it happen.
Your defense had 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 10 pass breakups. But what you don't see in the stats is the disruption. Maybe they don't get to Slovis or the quarterback every time, but they disrupted, and particularly in the running game. USC gave up on the run game.
Well, they I forget what they ran for. I think they were
38 yards rushing
on 28 carries. Yeah, that's Oregon defense right there. Credit to the players, credit to the coaches, credit to the medical staff that has gotten us here. These guys, Chief and his staff, and Steph and Travis and Dr. Davidson, these guys are unbelievable, man. And when you do all that stuff, I think, but back to the defense. I just had to mention those guys, because now they'd be all over me. But this had to be a physical game. We had to play our kind of football, and we were really itching to get back to our kind of football. And we found ourselves there tonight, and certainly extremely proud of this football team.
2 interceptions for Jamal Hill. That second one, did you realize at the time that it might be an interception, or was there a little bit of surprise in there?
There was a little bit of both, because someone said, hey, he's got it. I'm like, what do you mean he's got it? I saw him bobble it. It's like, no, his foot is in. And I'm like, all right, Mr. Official, can we take a really, really good look at this? And he comes over and he says, it's going to be your ball. And we said, okay, well, we still got to get a first down. We just happened to pop one right away. We got a little bit careless with the ball there too. At the end, got away from us. That could have been, certainly not a good result. But we ran enough time off the clock to pin them deep, force a penalty when we were trying to cover. And then the field was so long for them to make up with that much time left, and allowing our guys to, just pin their ears back and go get the quarterback. But credit to them. I think their team they have the most talented team we have played. Their quarterback is a phenomenal player. So are their wide receivers. A lot of these guys we know in recruiting. We come across each other. So had a chance to kind of see those guys. But I know that they had a really good year, and congrats to them for their accomplishments this season.
We got a chance to see for the first time Anthony Brown in the ballgame tonight. You kind of put SC back on their heels a little bit. Not sure where you're going with him.
Yeah, we had developed a short yardage goal line package for him, some 4-minute stuff as well, just a different look, Big body, he could run the ball as well. You saw how the touch he put on that pass. He's a really good player, and he deserved to play somehow, some way. And not only that, but he provided, advantage for us in the RPO world and some of the read game stuff, and he executed, really, really well. And I very much appreciate, we all very much appreciate Anthony for hanging in there throughout the season, because it's a position where, right, one guy's playing, right, for the most part, and he's a really good football player, and he showed it tonight.
He was a trio of running backs. Travis Dye is phenomenal. He's just amazing. Cyrus, and then Sean Dollars had to be feeling good for him. He had a really nice game tonight.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen. We knew when he got it all started last year, late in the season, especially during the Rose Bowl practices, when he was simulating Wisconsin's offense, and he was just ripping and running, and we're like, whoa, this guy is now hitting a different level. He's been practicing really well. He's been covering kicks and punts, and it was time. It was time, and he was awesome. And he's a great team player. His future is through the roof. I mean, there's no ceiling on him.
Well, it's a trifecta. We said we got a chance to see two great Oregon quarterbacks battle last night. You win the Pac-12 Championship Game tonight, and now you got a bowl game coming up ahead of you. I mean, Merry Christmas, Coach.
One heck of a week, huh?
Huh? It could have been much better than that. And we'll let the rest of these guys jump in here and ask you questions. I know they got some for you, too.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Great effort, and we'll talk to you when you get back home.
Congrats to you and the rest of the Duck Nation. Appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, let's open it up to questions. We'll start with James Crapia from the Oregonian.
Mario, we talked about the dime personnel package all year. You originally put it in the spring, and it started with different guys, though, with Javon, with Thomas. To turn to Jamal and to turn to DJ and to get the level of play you got from them tonight, could you have envisioned the kind of performance you got in this highest stage from those guys going back to, like you mentioned, back in March?
Yeah, we did. Quite honestly, we did. We knew when we recruited them, those guys were going to be special players, and all we needed were reps, and we got those reps. And every single week it was. And I know some of our games earlier this season weren't up to our standard, but you saw the progress, and you can't let the progress and development get lost in the result of maybe a game that didn't go your way. You can't. You just got to keep chopping away at it, because you find yourself in an opportunity like this, you gotta take advantage of. And that's what they did tonight. Those guys were just spot on with communication. They were spot on with alignments and pattern reading. They were just incredible all around the defense. Coach Avalos, the entire defensive staff. Lots of credit to those guys. They were awesome.
Paul Danzer from the Portland Tribune.
Hey, Coach, curious about you ran the ball on 3rd and long about 4 times. What was the thought process with those calls?
Well, we felt that they were going to get in some of their odd wide stuff, and that we had some matchups with our bigs on there, some of their nickels and dime guys that were kind of floating in the box there. And because they were bringing some pretty exotic pressures, and we figured, you know what, we had a couple of issues on a couple of 3rd and I would say borderline long, is like high mediums to long. And we felt that we could pop one. We did. And if it was short enough or it was 4th and 2, that we'd go for it. And we came up, a little bit short, but that was the thought behind it.
Ryan Thorburn, Register Guard.
Mario, overall, how would you sum up the quarterback room tonight? It seemed like Tyler struggled a little bit at times. Obviously, Anthony came in and gave you guys a huge spark, and then Cale Millen on kickoffs and special teams.
Yeah, number one, I got to give a huge shout out to Cale, because Cale's a quarterback. And when we traveled, I think today, we fielded 54 scholarship guys, which is right at that threshold, where, I think it's 53 where sometimes teams, cancel. But we're right there. I think it was 54, 55. I'm not sure. And, as Cale sees our numbers dwindling, a couple weeks ago, he says, Coach, I want to help. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I want to cover. I want to block. I'm like, all right, you better call your parents. Get it cleared with them first. And in practice, he's been unbelievable. And what I mean unbelievable in terms of his effort, his toughness, his physicality, his speed, his suddenness, athletic ability. Just a total team guy. I mean, guys like that are just – they're winners. It starts in their home, the way they were raised, the way they were just groomed to be. So kudos to him. You know what? Tyler did some real good things, and that's a good defense. They made some plays. We had some package stuff in there for Anthony. Got in there, got a touch early, and then added him again later in the game. Similar stuff, short yardage, 4-minute. We felt we needed to do whatever we needed to do to win the football game, and that Anthony was going to do a really good job in those packages. And Anthony could do really well in the regular part of the offense as well. So, but that's definitely not us like making a move or trying to replace or controversy. You know, I certainly don't want to go that route with the press conference. You know, we did what we had to do to win against a good defense. Credit to Coach Moorhead. Offensive staff came up with a great plan. That's an athletic, big physical team. And we ran the ball, fairly well against a lot of cover zero, +1 box look. So some good stuff.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Yeah, KT was all over the place, but he was just one of many guys along your defensive line. What's been, I guess, just seeing the culmination of all these guys kind of put it all together finally, just what's it say about this defensive unit you got?
Yeah, well, that week leading up to Cal, you could tell that it had kicked in. It had kicked in. I mean, look, no one's ever going to make an excuse. We never made an excuse all year, right? We said whoever handles COVID the best will find themselves playing for a championship, and we did. But, when you look at the reality of it, I mean, there were 6 weeks where we were at home, right, away, while other schools were, already in session, and I'm sure they were limited too. But it was like, hey, show up, and we got practice in 2 weeks, and we're playing ball. So some of those developmental moments were just lost, and you got to gain them back over time. And it finally started clicking that week at Cal, and then the week leading up to the Washington game, which they had to cancel. It was looking even better. And then this week was looking even better. Like our players, our whole team, our whole staff can tell you that they knew our defense was going to play great ball. Because, your practice habits is your game reality. You can't separate the two.
Tyson Alger, The Athletic.
Just how challenging was this last week, going from the Washington game being canceled to planning briefly for Colorado to this, and then balancing signing day, and just the range of the emotions that it took you through, even like throwing your contract stuff into the mix? Like this has been a crazy week.
Really? Has it? Oh man, it was wild. It was wild. I know this staff, I hope to make it back to locker room. They don't want to kill me, because of all the work we did. We had 3 game plans done in, I think, a matter of 3-4 days, just the constant switching. Can you imagine? Hey guys, we'll see you tomorrow at 6, and we'll go, Colorado from 6 to noon, and then we'll take a 5-minute lunch break, and then we'll go USC till the wee hours, and then we'll get on recruiting. And oh, by the way, just in case, blah blah blah. So. These guys are awesome. They're relentless. They're loyal. They're hardworking. They're unselfish. They want to give everything for the players just because they know how hard these guys work, and they deserve our very best. And that's what it takes in this industry, right? Nothing but your very best. So what can you say, man? We got the best staff in America.
Eric, 247 Sports.
Mario, Jamal stepped into a big spot replacing Javon this year, and had kind of up and down moments, always some really big ones, but none bigger than tonight. A couple interceptions. Second one, I don't know, almost seals it. Speak to his progress and just kind of the overall, what you've seen from him this year.
Yeah, I think Javon must have talked to him. I actually got a text from Javon right before the game. I'm like, hey, man, get your boys ready. It's time to roll, So Jamal is an explosive, hardworking, physical guy. His family back home, I mean, is, again, the parents of our guys, when you meet them, it doesn't take you long to realize what type of young men these guys are. And, he is just a hardworking, athletic, very knowledgeable, instinctive, great ball skills. I mean, this guy, he's just scratching the surface. And he's been he's immersed himself into learning that position and the techniques that go with it, because you're doing everything, right? You're playing the run. You're adding on pressures. You're playing man coverage. You got to play all the zone stuff and match it off. And, I mean, looked pretty awesome out there tonight. So I can't say enough great things about Jamal Hill.
We got players waiting, so we're going to go one more question to Coach. Kevin Wade from 247 Sports.
Hey, Coach. You got a lot of players on the roster from Los Angeles, and a lot of players that stepped up tonight. Kayvon, Sean Dollars, Diamador. What's it like to see them win a Pac-12 title in their hometown? Like, what is that emotion? for them.
I thought it was awesome when they came here last year and got to play in front of their families right here in the Coliseum, which is an awesome stadium. And for them to be able to come out here, you wish the families were allowed at the games, right? But, KT, who just walked in, and Sean and all these other guys, so many guys on our team from Southern California and California in general, it means a ton, because, look, the coaching and the caliber of elite athletes out here is hard to match. It really is, and so it's a very important area for us. That being said, tremendous amount of respect for, all the programs, in Southern Cal or whatnot. But for tonight, obviously I can't say enough great things about the guys in our program from Southern California and how they just showed up big tonight's game.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
All right, guys. Thank you. Go Ducks.